Welcome, friends, to the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and I'm here to help you become the guitar player that you always wanted to be. I want to be the guitar player that I always wanted to be, too. I'm getting there. How are you doing with that? If you're looking for the video lesson, this is not it. This is our weekly podcast. And today we're going to be having one that's not going to have a lot of playing today. So if you're looking for that, go down to the description. I have a link for it right at the top. You can go to this week's lesson, which is about 3-note blues chords. It's awesome. But we're going to be talking about what's been going on this past month. This past month, it's been tough. It's tough for me. It's been a tough time for all of us who want to get better at the guitar. August, across the board, for all of my students, for me, just people I meet on the street, everybody, it's been stressful. There's been so many things to do before the end of the summer. So many places to go, things to get in before you don't have time anymore. So many things to prepare for your family. And when things get tough, what's the first thing to go? You're practicing, right? But you don't care. You're going to fight it, right? You try. You might buy a small travel guitar. You might try to find a place to practice in the hotel that's quiet. Or maybe your family's going to go out somewhere and you might stay behind in the hotel to get a few minutes alone with the guitar, right? But it's difficult when you do that. It's difficult when you're trying to sneak a practice in to retain anything that you've learned. And you know that if you've tried it before. You're not in your space. Things are tough, right? So what happens? You try a few times, you give it your best shot, then you give in. You did it. You fought the good fight. But the mountain was a little too high to climb, all right? And let's say for the last 3 weeks of August, you just fall into line and you be a good member of the family, right? And you get it done. And you got to do that. I do it. Everybody does. But now it's over. September. Welcome to September. This is a great practicing month. This is kind of like January. It's the second half of the year's January. You got time back. It's quiet. You can sit and you can think finally. And you can realize what has happened to you over the past 3 weeks is that you're at a full stop. You have ground to a halt. And that's hard to start back up. It's hard to get that ball rolling again. It takes a lot of effort. It's work. And it's not the fun that you were having before when you were on a roll, right? If you relate to this, don't worry, okay? You're normal. You're not losing. This has been across the board with my students. And that puts me as a teacher, as a coach, in a very interesting place. How do you motivate and inspire people to move forward on the guitar while simultaneously, that's hard to say, moving a large weight, pushing this boulder, moving this weight into motion? That's what today is about. Learning to have fun while you're getting back on the horse, while you're trying to enjoy learning the guitar again when you're starting from full stop, right? So I have 3 things that I thought are the best advice that I could give to somebody who's practicing and is feeling overwhelmed, feeling like it's not going good. There's a lot of stress in your practice. There's a lot of, it's not what it once was. So the first one is to be mindful. We're usually overwhelmed or we're full. Our conscious mind is full of the task ahead, the problem at hand. Okay, I'm trying to target chord tones, or I'm trying to learn how to do extensions on chords, and I just don't understand it. I need to learn more. I'm trying to do this, but it's not making sense. So I need to learn more about this first, so that as I'm practicing these things, they're also making sense, right? So that's a lot of details, right? But we're playing music here, okay? We're trying to look at the bigger picture. And sometimes in your practice, looking at the bigger picture is a good thing too. We don't usually listen very often. We don't usually watch what we're doing. We don't usually take a step back and think, well, how does this actually sound when I'm playing? Right. There have been times where I have taken measures to take that step back. A lot of times it's with recording. For practice, that's the best. Put your phone over there, clear some of those apps that you don't ever use off your phone. So you got some space, and let it run while you practice. And then later on maybe that afternoon, take a listen. And what do you hear? When I do that, it's usually not the things that I was thinking about at the time. I might say, I was really trying to target those chord notes. And then I listen back and I go, my picking's off. Or, the guitar's out of tune. Or things that you don't notice because you have such tunnel vision when you're practicing. Actively listening, being mindful of what things actually sound like, being mindful of how you feel with the guitar, right? Being mindful of, hey, it looks like I'm slumped over. Is that hurting my neck, or is that hurting my shoulders? I didn't even think about it at the time, but now that I'm looking back at it on this video that I recorded, maybe I might want to adjust things a little bit. That we miss a lot of things when we have this tunnel vision. Another thing to pay attention to is your stress. Recognize when you're feeling stressed. Recognize when you're feeling frustrated. It kind of creeps up on me. I sit down with all the good intentions to learn something new, or to take something I've been learning and to refine it until it sounds great. And by the end of it, I've got a headache. And what happened? It slowly creeps in. Oh my gosh, I have a tension headache. Why? Because this stuff is not going well, right? And sometimes it happens over a few hours. Why did I spend all those hours working on this thing? And look at where I am right now. I'm exhausted and I'm frustrated. Take some breaks. Be mindful of how you're feeling when you're practicing. Breaks are important. Breaks is when the learning gels, where it sits in, right? As you're doing these things, your information's coming into up in here. But when you take a break, you can let yourself process what you've just done and see what happens. Really interesting stuff. Also practice relaxation techniques. I had to do that with a lot of, doing the YouTube videos and doing all these things and then all the coaching and everything. I could work and work and work and work and work all day long if I wanted to. I have to force myself to stop. In fact, I have different timers that let me know, okay, I'm going to stop and I'm just going to sit here and close my eyes for 5 minutes. And wow, at the end of the day, when I would do that at a regular basis, things have gotten better for me, a lot better. And I get more done and I'm happier when I'm doing that. Making sure that you take a break so that these things can sink in and you can rest and prepare to go at it again. These are techniques that help you maintain a very positive mindset. How about others? Paying attention to others, learning from others. Observe and learn from other musicians, whether it's in person or through their recordings or their experiences. They can offer things to you. They can offer a new perspective in what you're doing. This is more about that tunnel vision that I've been talking about. Oh gosh, I'm playing these things. I keep making these mistakes. Well, I listen to Jimmy Page and he also makes mistakes sometimes, but they sound fantastic. What is that? Well, let's take some of these mistakes that we have and reframe them a little bit. We had a whole podcast on reframing your mistakes, using those as opportunities, learning opportunities, embracing them. Realizing that, hey, a mistake is just a new, it's a new alley to take to the same place, right? You can grow from these mistakes. You can, well, what did I do? Well, why didn't it sound so bad when I did that? Well, this was just another way I could have gone. Maybe in your subconscious, your brain was telling you, hey, take a left here, right? And maybe, in your practice a little bit, take a song maybe you didn't learn correctly or something like that and figure, well, what did I do? What are some of the things that we're trying to increase enjoyment and not get so stressed out about the bad things in here? So that's section number 1, being mindful. The next is enjoying the process of this, enjoying the journey. This is not something easy that you've taken on. This is tough. This has been a lifelong thing for me. I'm still learning stuff. I've been playing for a very long time, and I still have things I want to learn. And I love learning. I love and I love helping people too. If you have an opportunity to do that, that would be something pretty cool. So working the problem is not a bad thing. Working the problem can be an interesting thing. Enjoy the walk with this. These challenges are opportunities to grow. When we break down things, when we take a section, we go, I can't play this well. I don't know what it is. Let's go in and figure out what's going on here. Okay, I've got this chord progression. Oh, there's a passing chord in there that I'm not even playing right now. And you listen to the song and you go, well, that passing chord has to be there. If it's not there, what should I do? Well, what was I playing? Oh, there it was. I was still playing the chord from before, and it clashes right there. So I have to go in and figure out, well, what are the notes that I need to play? What are the notes that are going to make this song sound the way it should sound? And what I found a lot of times when I stop and I take a second to learn something that I was missing, it's not always limited to the song that I'm working on. It usually goes into like 4 or 5 different songs. Oh, that also happens in this song, and that also happens in this song. So I find those things exciting. I find the songs that give me challenges as the fun part to this. This is the part of the walk that I enjoy. It's not for me going and being on stage, although I've been doing a lot of that lately. I've been forcing myself to get out there and play in open mic nights just to meet new musicians so that I'm working on, I'm working on getting a band back together. So I'm meeting the people in my area, but I'm also going and just getting up, playing 5, 6 songs and then getting down. No stress. It's not my gig. I just get up there and get a little time in, How about playing songs? We all learn little bits of songs and then it goes. Or then if we do learn the whole song, it's boring. I got to play the same part over and over and over again. You get to play songs. Do you know how many people wish they could play songs? Snap out of it. You get to play songs, right? So that song, it's not boring. That repetition is in there on purpose because people like it. That helps people continue to listen to the song. Repetition, if you do it too much, it turns people off, but too little, it doesn't make sense. So you need an element of repetition in there, and you need to be able to master that repetition. Being able to play that verse again, and this time do a little something to it to make it interesting. That's the hallmark of a great guitar player. To be able to play the same thing again, but this time make it, up a notch. Add a little something to it so that this time when it's played, there's something new. It's still the same chords, still the same rhythms, but maybe you added some extensions in there. Maybe you added some embellishments in there. That's the challenge. The challenge is how can you play from the beginning of a song to an end of a song and take people smoothly from the beginning to the end. That's where the value is right there. And maybe that might be a fun challenge for you to take an old song that you used to play, one you think is boring, and see what you can do to make it better. Another way that I can enjoy the process of this, really enjoy the journey that I'm on, is periodically I try to remember why I'm doing this in the first place. Why am I learning guitar in the first place? Guitar has so many different avenues that we can go down. Sometimes it's easy to forget what we liked about this in the first place. When I started playing guitar, I loved the sound of Jimmy Page and Eddie Van Halen, that distortion on the guitar. That to me was the coolest part. Right. And I even if it was single notes or if it was chords, didn't matter. That overdrive, that sound of the tubes breaking up, it's being slammed by that sound inspired me. So a lot of times when you practice, I do it too. I practice with a clean tone. Why? Because distortion can kind of cover up mistakes a little bit. But every once in a while, if I'm feeling a little down, guess what time it is? And David, my friend David, he knows all about this. You put the distortion on or whatever it is. For me, that was that. But for you, it might be reverb and delay. It could be playing a certain scale pattern. But whatever it was that really got you interested in guitar, Spend some time doing that too. Reflect on it. What gets you going? And another thing that I find motivating is the journey, is mapping the journey along the way. Now I know what I've done, and going forward, you don't know how it's going to go, but you can kind of aim yourself in a certain direction. We do that with coaching a lot. I like 3-month goals. I like breaking them down by month and then by week there, but breaking your learning into small, manageable goals and achieving these goals, and then even celebrating those goals, is an incredible way to enjoy the process. And every little step that along the way, no matter how small, that's some cool stuff. And you can keep your learning process enjoyable. So the last thing I want to talk about in trying to make sure that you get back on track in a way that's fun, getting you moving, but not throwing you back into the same old rut, is share what you're learning with others. Now, we always talk about jamming with other people, but I enjoy sharing what I'm learning with friends and family, or people in our community as well too, what I've been working on too. And even if they don't understand or they don't know, have no idea what I'm talking about, that challenge of explaining what I'm learning helps me sort it out as well too. It's one thing to get the information to come in, but it's another thing to be able to repeat it or to explain it in a way that makes sense, that you figured out how it makes sense. That's what I do here all the time. I've learned all this stuff a long time ago. But what I've done over the years is I've had to learn how to put it into words in a way that people understand that. And this is something that you can do. Say, hey, can I talk to you about what I've been doing? You know, even someone a family member has nothing to do with music, right? Can I talk to you about what I'm doing now? And, you know, they might say, sure, I don't know anything about that, but sure, but let me see if I can explain it to you. And then, you know, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but at least you've started to try to make sense of these things that you're learning in a way that you can share with others. And when you can do that, you've got it. And that's how I feel about this. If we're talking about modes, for example, I've got modes. I've been doing modes for a long time, and I can explain modes to you in a way that is simple and easy, where a lot of people try to make modes very difficult. And you, who knows why, right? Why? Because they have fancy names, and maybe it attracts people who like fancy things. I don't know. The names mean nothing to me in modes. It's the way they sound and how I can get them. It's very simple to do that. But teaching, discussing what you learned, it deepens your understanding, and we'll go to the other side of it, playing with others again. And I'm always saying this: join a band, go to a jam session. I'm doing it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm just sitting here in this room all day, right? Nope. I'm out there playing every Wednesday and Thursday night. Get together with a casual group, have a party, and pick up your guitar and play a little bit. Playing with others is inspiring, and it can help you get this ball rolling again. You'll have a reason to practice. Maybe next Thursday, you're going to have a party and you're going to play a couple songs there. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you're back in the routine. I got a reason to do it. I'm getting motivated. Playing for others, performing for an audience, no matter how small, it could be one person, two people. Sharing your music is rewarding, and it's a confidence boost as well too. Even if it doesn't go well, you know what didn't go well, and you have something new to practice, so the next time that it does. And the last thing that I want to recommend as you start to get the ball rolling again, remember to maintain a balance between practice and play. These are my two things that I've had a long history of the two-part practice, and it's a general thing. So the things that you practice, they sound bad, right? These are things that you're working on, and you're trying to make them sound good, but you're working every day on things that sound not so good in the hopes of making them better. But there's a lot of things that you do play, that you play well, and they're behind you. But if they don't get caught up, if you don't keep them going, you may lose them, right? Going back and playing those songs that you learned 5 years ago, months ago, What is it? Whatever it is, right? Going back and doing an old technique exercise routine because you haven't done it in a while, and that one really helped you. Those are the things that sound bad. And we need to do that, but we can only do that for so long. At some point, you've got ears and you're hearing these things. We need to do this repeating stuff. So getting a routine of good songs that sound good, keeping them going is really, really, really important. And then doing some fun jamming. Just don't do that all the time. There's a large section of the Play Guitar podcast worldwide community that sits down and play guitar and just jams until they run out of ideas, and then they put the guitar away and they say that's practice. That's not practice. That's jamming. Jamming's different than practice. Jamming is fun and it's great. It's great for getting your sounds together. It's great for coming up with ideas and being creative, but it's not working a goal. And you all know what you need to do. You've listened to, there's 381 episodes as of today. There's a lot in there. Even if you don't listen to all of them, just go back and look at the titles. There's the things to work on to get you moving forward. It's all in there, right? So getting a balance between practice and play. If you've got an hour to practice, maybe do, and it's up to you. You could do half and half. You could do the 40-20. You can do it any way that you want it, but spend a time working on things that you need to set goals for to get better, and spend another time enjoying yourself and doing some practice. And if you need some help with that, I'm taking on a few coaching students now, just a few. So I have a few spots open. Go over to playguitaracademy.com/play guitar coaching, play-guitar coaching. Easier, just click the link in the description. This is a little assessment. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, and then I'll get back in touch with you and I'll explain to you all about coaching and if it's something that may be good for you. They're better than guitar lessons. Guitar lessons is part of it, but I'm also planning and structuring your specific situation. If you've got specific issues that are holding you back from moving forward on the guitar, or if you're lost and you don't know how to move forward, that's the coaching end that comes in this, plus with some motivation too. I hope you got a lot out of this. I got a lot out of it. I had an outline and just talked to you about the outline, and a lot of stuff came out that I didn't realize was going to come out. So that was a lot of fun. It was a good podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to call it. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar Podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. And if you have benefited from this podcast, leave us a review over at Apple Podcasts. When they get the reviews, they push it to more people, and then there's lost guitar players all over the place that this content could really help the way I hope it's helping you. It's the best way that this is going to get to more people. And if you need some help with your guitar playing, I have multiple different ways to help you in multiple different areas, and you can head over to playguitaracademy.com and see all of them right there. And I hope to see you over there. Okay, see you next week. Bye-bye.